Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to you, February 7th, 2025. It's Dave Neal here, and I've got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. We're going to get into the Chinese AI, the artificial intelligence, that they are now finding out might be spying on you. I'll have that story for you, plus some updates on the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs owner talks about the Taylor Swift effect. I mean, can you hit the lottery? You know, you got a guy, a tight end, the return on investment. He starts dating the biggest pop star of all time. Not bad. Plus, speaking of pop stars, Chapel Roan smeared in the Hollywood Reporter, and I've got Halsey coming to her defense. Also, speaking of the pop stars, Taylor Swift back in the news with regard to Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And you're going to want to stick around for this. It looks like a content creator plans to sue Blake Lively, saying Blake Lively's team is getting his content removed. Very interesting stuff. Also, Justin Baldoni, a tearjerker, as we find out he helps a family who is displaced from the Altadena fire. I'll be sharing that as well as debunking some fake news stories. Those Russians, they're coming for you. All right, I got all of this and so much more. It is a fun-loving Friday. This is The Rush. Does anybody else miss the 90s, the early 2000s, before the internet took over our lives? Remember when Facebook was just a status update? We didn't upload all these photos to compare ourselves to our neighbors. Well, now artificial intelligence out of China, I guess, is spying on us. And you know what the craziest part is? We just let it happen. You know why? Because it makes our life easier. We're like, you know what? Here, take whatever you want. Pillage us. Have a listen.
You made a startling discovery that DeepSeek has the capability of sending user data straight to the Chinese government. Explain for us, just in basic terms, what you were able to uncover.
That website has pieces of software and technology embedded into it that has ability to send information directly to China Mobile's service called cmpassport.com. And this is something we've never seen before, where technology is built right into the service that has ability to send information to China Mobile, which is a sanctioned company.
I mean, look, of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. That's what we learn in economics, right? Everything comes with a cost. You want a free app to do all of your assistant work for you? Well, it's also going to send it back to the motherland.
You found that DeepSeek creates this digital fingerprint for each user. So what does that mean for anyone who registers or uses the tool?
It creates a very unique digital fingerprint, just like it sounds just like that will be able to track you and your activities across any other website where they're able to collect information. So what that really means is that it gives the ability to potentially survey Americans on any other websites once they have visited a DeepSeek and start navigating to any other pages.
All right, there it is. You know, take your cell phones and just burn them in a bunch of ammonia. Now, look, I mean, if they really, my search history is me just Googling people that look familiar in movies that I'm watching to see what other movies they've been a part of. Like, that's really it. But yeah, I mean, look, we shouldn't be surprised. Our TV remote controllers listen to us. Our phones are listening to us even when they're turned off. I mean, I don't know. You're listening to me. I'm listening to you. Who the hell? Okay, you know, let's just deal with it, right? It's too late. We can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. All right, and speaking of too late, Ippei Mizuhara was sentenced to 57 months in prison. He was officially sentenced on Thursday after fessing up to swindling millions from Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani. Mizuhara's fate was determined in a Santa Ana, California court minutes ago. Not only has he been sentenced to 4 years and some change behind bars, he was also ordered to pay $18 million in restitution, nearly $17 million to Ohtani, and another $1.1 million to the IRS. Okay, this was his trainer who was caught scamming him. So yeah, you can't be doing that. Not here in the good old U.S. Now, you can create an artificial intelligence tool which scams people, but you can't scam them of their money. All right, you can scam them of their brains. All right, how about this? This is a nice feel-good moment. This is from the Special Olympics TikTok account. The Super Bowl is just a couple days away, and always a good time to inspire everyone to try their best and shoot for their dreams. And here is a question about inclusion for Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts.
I'm a special Olympics athlete. What does inclusion mean here?
It means everything, man. It means everything. Have an opportunity to pursue whatever it is you're passionate about and whatever it is you love. So I think that's very important.
The question is, what does inclusion mean? And of course, inclusion is one of the words that's been weaponized: diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? DEI. And inclusion to me means that we all get a spot at the starting line for the race. Right? It's not about equity of outcome. It's about equity of opportunity. That's what inclusion means to me, that we all have a shot at this thing, that we can all grow up in a slice of the country where we have access to jobs, to decent food, to clean water. Inclusion to me means that the basement of what we tolerate within our great country, the United States of America, that basement, the lowest level, is one that is a humane level. That's what inclusion means to me. It doesn't mean someone makes some money and you take it and rip it out of them and you do. No, it just means that we all give each other a fighting shot. All right, let's move it on. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're selling you on a fear. All right, we got the Super Bowl updates. Here's the Kansas City Chiefs owner on Tay-Tay, Taylor Swift's influence on the team's fan base.
Everyone knows about the Taylor Swift connection to your team. I'm curious, have you seen an effect on the bottom line from that?
Well, I think indirectly the NFL has seen an impact. Certainly our fan base took a big leap forward last year, particularly with specifically young female fans. I think we had something like a 30% growth in our fan base, which is pretty significant, even for a team that won the Super Bowl. So you have to definitely give Taylor a little bit of credit for that. We still get a lot of eyeballs this year. We've had several games that have broken records, and I think Taylor's a little bit a part of that.
I love it. And you know what? A lot of people still think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are a conspiracy, a fake relationship to drive up numbers. How ridiculous. My mom was questioning this. I go, I know you got a little lead poisoning from that toy you licked when you were a kid back in the 70s. I understand, boomers out there. You got some issues with the old neurons firing because you got some dusty lead-painted house you lived in. I get it. The mold's pretty bad in the basement there. You didn't have a dehumidifier. But I'm here to tell you, it ain't a conspiracy. All right, Chapel Roan. This was an article written about her. So she wins a Grammy. She uses the biggest moment of her life, of her career, her platform, to speak on behalf of others. You know what? You could say to include them, to have inclusion in some of the riches she has received as a megastar. She says, I think all of these companies that profit off of us, these record labels, I think they don't take enough risks, and I think they should be protecting the artists as we grow. They should help us with healthcare. They should help us with a basic minimum wage so we don't starve. Chapel Roan, when her first record label dropped her, had to go back home to the Midwest and I think work at the drive-thru. God bless people that work at the drive-thru. We love drive-thru. I would kill it in the drive-thru. I mean, I would absolutely kill it. Somebody give me a Dunkin' Donuts to work at. I'll eat all the donuts. One donut for me, one donut for you. That's how the split goes. I'm working for donuts. Either way, how about this hogwash article from the Hollywood Reporter, which, by the way, I've lost so much respect for the Hollywood Reporter. They've written so many shite articles slamming people and being on the wrong side of history. Chapel Roan, the misguided rhetoric of an instant industry insider. The Grammy winner for Best New Artist gets respect and true appreciation for her creativity and gumption, but is far too green and uninformed to be the agent of change she aspires to be today, says Jeff Raban. Listen, Jeff. You don't get to gatekeep anybody who wants to do good out there. So yeah, maybe Chapel Roan doesn't understand all the ins and outs of tax code and, Citizens United and whatever. But here she is using her platform for good. Shame on you for using your platform to knock that down. So they go on to continue. It seems Chapel Roan wants to turn record labels into landlords. Oh, Jeff, you bootlicker. You got to be kidding me. She wants to turn record labels into landlords, bosses, and insurance providers. Have you ever tried to get your expenses reimbursed from a major label? Yet somehow you want them in charge of healthcare claims? Now, I also agree that the government should be the sort of system that takes care of healthcare. I think we should all pay into it, single payer. I don't think this should be what we need. But for her to use her platform and say, yeah, I made my, record label a lot of money, but my first record label didn't believe in me and they strung me along and I didn't get all of the help that I needed. And there's so many artists that don't quite flourish. They don't quite make it off the training wheels and they're worried about they're not going to get, medication because they don't have health insurance. It's just ridiculous. These record labels make a lot of money. They make a lot of money, but if you don't, have an ROI, if you don't give them anything, they're just going to cut you loose. And it's like, where's the mutual trust? Where's the you bet on me, I'll bet on you? So this article is absolute garbage. This is absolute garbage for this guy to think he can come in here and push around Chapel Roan. She is brave. She is brave to use that moment as her career's taking off to say, hey, I want to bring along the people who haven't made it yet. And that's why she received a standing ovation. And that is why she received, applause from audience members, that tears were running down their face because they saw in that moment someone who's willing to stand up to the bosses. And on Fridays, we love to stand up to the bosses out there. Look, hey, everyone's trying their best, right? So we'll have to see if these record labels maybe start to, take a loss on some of their talent while they try to develop them. Why not, right? You don't expect an Olympic trainee to just win you gold right away. No, it can take 8 to 10, 12 years of training them and getting them into peak condition. And, you understand the point. All right, so anyway, Halsey, the singer, was defending Chapel Roan on Instagram, says, Hollywood Reporter, I hope you're embarrassed of the absolute personal attack that you've ran and disguised as critical journalism. This is far beneath the standard you should uphold as a publication. Jeff's ranting, seething tantrum is loaded with assumptions and accusations that generalize the experience of every artist to that of the most successful. Our industry is comprised of thousands of voices. The elite at the very top of the class are not the example of a monolithic experience for all artists. Advances, seldomly awarded the way they used to be, are for affording survival because your commitment to making art, the label that sells and sometimes takes an absolute majority of, precludes you from working a day job. It's a game of investment, but the investment is towards producing the materials. The person, the organic material that is producing that product needs access to things like healthcare. Shocking, I know. If you want to profit off of someone else's art, that artist should have the basic living means to feel safe enough to create that art. An artist like Chapel, who has worked for over a decade, is not an instant industry insider. And to compare the payoff of her actions to those of an industry titan with the power and financial leverage like Taylor Swift, when Chapel hasn't even spun the block enough times to see the residuals of her long-earned but sudden success, is irresponsible for someone with your experience in this industry. Shame on you. Bootlicking behavior. Well, it begs the question, what side of history do you want to be on? Do you want to be this guy from the Hollywood Reporter who's bent the knee, waiting for the breadcrumbs of all of the rich people that offer little morsels to everybody else? Or do you want to be on Chapel Roan's side, someone who's using their equity, their power, their moment in the spotlight to try to elevate the experience for others that have less than they do? I'll tell you which side I want to be on. I think you guys know. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this. I've had a couple stories I wanted to get to all week, and this is one of them. His name is The Angry Therapist on Instagram, and he is going to share with us a video that he sent to Justin Baldoni and Emily Baldoni. This is what he posted. He says, if you don't know, we lost our home in the Altadena fire a couple weeks ago. In the first 6 days, we slept in 5 different beds, hopping around hotels and Airbnbs. Then I got a text from Justin and Emily offering their home to us. I don't know them that well, so I declined. Didn't feel comfortable with it, but he insisted since they were going to Hawaii to get away from their own shitstorm they're currently going through. I told them I was with another family with 2 kids. He said, bring them. So for the last week and a half, 2 families have been staying in their home. It has truly been a miracle and a gift. It has given us space, breath, and some peace. Kids are playing and laughing. We're sharing meals and able to reset and figure out our next steps. Their home has been and continues to be healing in so many ways. Listen, no one is telling me to post this. Not him or his team. I am posting this because it's my experience of them. And as a therapist, character and values cannot be compartmentalized. They are revealed in everyday life and ripple into all areas. I don't know what happened on movie sets and boardrooms. I was not there, but I do know how one kind and compassionate family has helped us. If you watched the video, this isn't just about the offering of a home. The way they show up in the world has checked me in the way that I show up. So now I'm running my men's group here this Sunday, which I used to run in my garage, to create the same space Justin and Emily to a dozen other men. And that is the power of the human exchange, because we are all catalysts. What if Justin is the catalyst to cripple cancel culture, giving It Ends With Us a whole new meaning? I hope you share this, not to take a side, to get rid of how fast we throw stones on the internet and destroy real lives, all sides. Here is what he had to say.
It's 4 a.m. in the morning, and sipping some coffee, reading this I picked up. It felt like it was calling to me, and getting a little emotional, just because of the amount of gratitude I feel for your guys' kindness. And I was thinking this whole thing, at least for me, isn't just about kind people opening their homes, but I feel like there's something greater. The way that you guys have showed up has made me question how I show up in the world. It's made me question things like faith and God, and what life is truly about. And all of this makes me feel closer to God, which I haven't in a long time. And in my men's group, before our house burned down, one of the things that I told the boys was, I haven't felt close to God in a long time. And one of the reasons why I started the men's group was to not sell a product, but to be of service, and to, when I was working in nonprofit for 5 years, it's the closest I've ever felt to God. And I wanted to feel that again. And that's why I started the men's group in my garage.
And he goes on, and you can follow him, The Angry Therapist. Again, this was a private message meant for Justin and Emily Baldoni. But what you see here is a man who lost everything. Kids' rooms, I'm sure all of their cherished heirlooms gone from the fires. And here he is feeling closer than ever to that source love. And I think, if I could even imagine what that feeling is like, it's probably a feeling of when all else is taken away, when all else is stripped off of us, we're provided that vision of what really matters. And for him here, it's that generosity from family and also from strangers. So to share this private moment with the rest of us is a very, very special thing. I'm going to take a left turn in the drama here of the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni world. Again, you can do good and still be guilty of bad things. He can't speak to what happened on the set, but he can at least share his character testimony. This came out on TMZ. Taylor Swift, bad blood with Blake Lively. I'm not your dragon. But to be quite honest, as I read this, I couldn't even imagine. There was no new material that I could see as far as anything coming from a source. They basically say that Taylor came to Blake's apartment and told the time Blake told her to, not knowing anyone else would be there. The well-connected source says Taylor had no idea there was a meeting going on with Justin. The source says Justin was about to leave after the 2-hour meeting as Taylor walked in, and she was introduced to him for the first and only time. We're told all Taylor said to Justin was how excited she was to see the movie because she was her friend's boss. So either way, the source says it's weird that it's weird to say that about a friend. So yeah, I mean, I don't really think it's that big of a story. We've already kind of got similar stories from, sources. At this point, when it comes to these unnamed sources, sometimes I just don't know who they are. This story is interesting. This guy over here has been covering the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively case, B.Better.company. And he says, it's getting serious. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are after me. Have a listen to this.
Hey, so if you guys are watching this right now, I'd like to let you know that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have successfully gotten a video I posted last night taken down. More specifically, they got it banned in the United States because that's where they have their connections with TikTok US. You might be wondering, how do I know it was them? Because 2 weeks ago, someone from TikTok had notified me that their team had reported my account for misinformation and attempted to get my account deleted. But because I've never actually broken any TikTok rules and have been very fair in my reporting, they were unable to do so.
All right, so I need to know who from Blake Lively's quote-unquote team got something taken down from you. So either way, they're going to tell us now that they're planning on suing Blake Lively.
You might be wondering, what exactly was it about the video posted last night specifically that was so explosive they needed to get it scrubbed from the internet in just a few hours? And the answer to that is it's the first time I ever spoke to an exclusive inside source who told me something about the legal battle that clearly Blake and Ryan so desperately do not want the public to know. Otherwise, why are they attempting to censor me? Additionally, I'm progressively beginning to believe what I reported on is true, otherwise they would not be trying so hard to silence me. I think it is so pathetic that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds put together this BS lawsuit about how people are trying to manipulate public perception because their egos cannot even conceive of a world where anybody could dislike them, when in reality, they're the ones manipulating public perception by censoring people like me. So I'm officially seeking legal representation to sue Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds myself for infringing on my freedom of speech, and if TikTok does not reinstate this video in the next 12 hours, I will be adding them to the lawsuit as well. So in the meantime, you guys can watch this banned video on my YouTube channel. I'll put the link in my bio, and I need someone to connect me with Brian Friedman's team immediately because I have some very important information to share with him I'm sure he would love to have.
Whoa! Law and order, folks. So, seeking representation, plans to sue Blake Lively. Listen, I don't know. I mean, hey, by all means, you know, TikTok's going away, and I'm not blaming this content creator one bit. You know, you guys got to eat. TikTok's going away. It's getting banned. Here, you want to know more information? Go onto my YouTube channel. I get it. I'm not, like I said, either way, did he actually get canceled? What was the thing that you said that got it deleted? Do I personally believe, and I think I'm kind of good at sniffing out BS. Do I believe that Blake Lively's team got a TikTok of his removed? In short, no. I don't. TikTok removes. I made a video about Luigi. I did a stand-up a bit about Luigi, and TikTok took it down. Their auto removal policies are all over the place. So no, I don't believe that's what happened. If you do remember back in the day covering Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, you couldn't even say Johnny or Amber's name on YouTube without it getting demonetized, and that's because it was a big topic about DV. And sure, there's certain words you can't say. Maybe he said a word that tripped the thing, and they took it down. But as far as coming out of the gate saying he's planning on suing Blake Lively, yeah, I mean, bring the evidence and I guess go for it. I don't know. All right, we're going to get a quick break. We'll be back with more right after this. And by the way, for those worried about the political climate out there, you should be worried. It's chaos. It's insane. But here we have CBS News reporting that in some cases, the checks and balances are working. And by that, I mean, judges are saying, nah, you can't do all the stuff you're trying to do.
Getting a living, breathing example of checks and balances at work. Let's start with the Boston Federal District Court decision that pushes the deadline for these deferred resignation offers or buyouts, payouts, whatever you prefer to call them, until at least Monday afternoon. The judge in Boston asking that it be held up until then. Those that were suing include a series of federal worker labor unions, called on the Office of Personnel Management based here in Washington to send out a new email informing the nation's roughly 2 million civilian federal employees that this deadline is being put off until at least Monday afternoon.
So that's right. That's the deadline for federal employees to go back to in-office, get fired, or resign. Well, we're going to talk to our friend Jenna Carlton, who is on Instagram, the Millennial Veteran. Do I have that right? The Millennial Veteran? And she's fantastic. And sadly, she's, I guess, forced to go back to a job where she doesn't even have an office. They don't even have space for her, but her bosses don't even know what to do. So there's so many federal employees that are just confused and it's rushed and it's mismanaged. And anyhow, we'll have that this afternoon. It's going to be a fantastic conversation. So stick around for that. But let's go to some fake news. There is a lot of this going around right now. BBC News is reporting it. I think we can trust BBC News, right? Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk both shared this fake news video claiming the U.S. government's main overseas aid agency, USAID, funded trips for Hollywood celebrities to visit Ukraine. Now listen, is there overspending in some of these groups? Yeah, there's always, we should always be auditing the different organizations, taxpayer-funded organizations, absolutely. But what we have yet to see is any audit of the Pentagon, of the billions of dollars that is, in the military-industrial complex. Will that happen, or are we just going to be cherry-picking less than 1% of the budget? Like, if we're looking for big savings, I don't know if this is it, but have a listen.
This video claiming the US government has spent millions of tax dollars on celebrity trips to Ukraine is fake, and it's been shared by Elon Musk and Donald Trump Jr. USAID is the US government's main overseas aid agency, and Donald Trump's administration has accused it of wasting money. So how do we know the claims in the video are fake? First, E! News said that the video was not produced by them. And Ben Stiller, who's in the clip, has said that his trip to Ukraine was self-funded. The video also has several hallmarks of a Russian disinformation operation BBC Verify investigated last year. The network has been posting slick videos impersonating big media organizations, including the BBC, to push anti-Ukraine narrative.
All right, so there it is. There's a Russian network that makes videos so that they look like E! News and other reputable news organization, and they are there to push an anti-Ukraine agenda. Folks, I'm sorry. This is insanity. And not only do they dupe random people, they dupe the son of the president, the guy responsible for the Department of whatever the hell it's called, Doge. And this is scary stuff, because it's one thing if you get my, boomer parents with lead poisoning and you fake them on, they can't say. E! News, they don't even have their glasses on. They got two different sets of glasses they're looking at. When you buy those 10-pack of glasses at Walgreens, they got to hold their phone that far away, and they're like, what is this? And it's like, that's nothing. That's fake news. Anyhow, it's a tough time out there. If anything, with this channel, we like to promote critical thinking, looking into things, finding original sources, not just random quotes that are made to scare you. If there is any other message we can get from the channel right now, it is be careful, double check your sources, and if you aren't sure of something, don't share it. Now, I've been covering what's going on in Gaza, and I think I've been doing a damn good job. I'm not blaming the Jewish people. I'm not blaming a lot of things, and yet I'm getting emails from people saying, hey, Dave, you got this all wrong. You got that all wrong. You shouldn't be diving into these waters. We need to talk about things, and the only thing better than bad speech is good speech. Let's do a lot of speech, right? We have plenty of bandwidth to talk about that, and that's what we're going to do on this channel. And by the way, for all of the emails I've gotten that are people questioning sources or saying you're only covering one side, it comes from both ends. I get it from both ends. You only cover CNN. You only cover Fox. I literally cover everything. In fact, so much of what I cover is straight out of the politician's mouth. This isn't fake news. This is stuff we're reporting on. But I do want to thank all of you guys, because for all those that have left me emails, I've gotten floods, absolute floods of people saying, Dave, I came for the Baldoni stuff, but I actually like what's going on here. You're doing a good job. You're kind of, it's very digestible. It's not too harsh. And that's the attempt, right? Share the news. Don't scare you. Give it to you from my very standard and I believe to be a neutral opinion. I'm a progressive, but I'm not here to admonish or shame anybody if they voted in a different direction, because everyone's trying the best with the information they have. I'm trying to give that information to you. Maybe you voted for Trump, maybe you didn't. That doesn't mean we can't question what's going on now. He is no longer running for office, folks. He is in office. And if you don't like what's going on, call your representatives. There's people mobilizing. And if there's, anything else that you want me to talk about, shoot me an email. I'm here. All right, we got a lot to get into. I'm going to have several videos today. We might get breaking news, or waiting to hear what's going to break. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you're on audio only, please give us a nice 1-star review. Again, if you're watching on YouTube and you want to help me out, the best thing you can do is you could subscribe to the free podcast right there. Leave us a nice review. Every person who subscribes on iPhones, on their Apple Podcast app, it helps chart us up the charts, and we're trying to get into the top 50. Wouldn't that be nice? Appreciate all the support. You guys have been fantastic. We'll be back this afternoon. I'm Dave Neal. This is The Rush.